Hi, everybody. This is Chef Rob from Aortic Hope here at the last Aortic Kitchen of the year. And we're coming up on New Year's. That's great. And so I've prepared a menu of items that we can do a New Year's Day brunch. So this is kind of like the morning after brunch, okay? We did all the hors d'oeuvres last week, and you can use those for any of the holidays. But this is, for New Year's Day brunch, a little something to when you wake up the next morning. A lot of this is really easy, stuff that can be prepped the day before. So you don't have to worry about getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and putting all this together. So I've thought about that, and you'll see that we've got some special stuff so everybody can enjoy. And by the way, just at the New Year's Eve, I didn't do a New Year's Eve thing because honestly, I'll throw this in here. Mindy's not here tonight, our aortic dietitian. She's out of town, but she'll be back because New Year's Eve is our anniversary. So we always try to have a party to go to. That's what, so she'll be back. But New Year's Day brunch. So I got four things for you today. We're going to start off with scones. Now, these are going to be a low cholesterol scone because scones typically there was called a cream biscuit. And a biscuit, you take your flour, you have to cut in all the butter, and it's kind of, it's hard to make really good biscuits. Scones, though, instead of butter, you just use cream. So you take your flour and baking powder, pour cream in it, stir it up, stick it in the oven. Simple. But there's a lot of cholesterol, a lot of fat, and all that. So I've changed it, and I'm making it with evaporated milk and a 2% evaporated milk. But the evaporated milk, has been cooked down and reduced so that it is thick and heavier like cream. So you'll see the results are really great. Start that in a second. We're going to do a quiche. Now, this quiche is going to be special because one, it's gluten-free. How can we do quiche that's gluten-free? Well, we're not doing a pastry crust. I'm doing a potato crust, something that's really cool and works very, very well. It's also low cholesterol because I'm using a egg substitute, that some of those major brands out there rather than whole eggs. They cook and work just like eggs. It's low so, and it's also low fat. So all sorts of good things in there. I'm going to do a blueberry lemon yogurt parfait. And that's great. Again, it's low fat, low sodium, uh, and it's going to be delicious. Okay. And cholesterol free, if I'm correct. And then the last, we're going to finish with a traditional dessert, crepe Suzette. Now, crepes, are little pancakes, same things that you make blintzes with. But here's another thing. These crepes are gluten-free, okay? No flour, so everybody can enjoy. This one is gluten-free, low cholesterol, low fat, low sodium, and it is vegan, if I'm correct. I got to look again. Yes, the sauce is vegan. The batter has the egg in it, so it's not vegan, but the sauce itself is vegan. Okay. So I am going to start. I got to get things done. This is what you do with your mise en place, making sure that you do things in the right order so that they, when one thing's done, the other one's ready to start. This, oh boy, I should have opened this up beforehand. The yogurt parfait, the blueberries are soaked in limoncello, that famous Italian dessert liqueur that's made from lemon peels soaked in alcohol, usually whole grain alcohol. I've soaked them for a month, and then you put sugar, you strain it and then cut it with sugar syrup, and then you have limoncello. Okay, really easy to make. So we're gonna put a little of this limoncello on these berries. Oops, that's more than enough, but never too much, right? And I could have done the one for the bowl, one for the chef. Now, you need to smash not a lot, but you need to crush them a little bit, just pop the skins. These are those Peruvian blueberries that we're all used to now. They're really big, they're gigantic. Um, and they also have the skins are a little thick. They kind of pop in your mouth and crunch. So they're a little harder to break, So all right, so I've smashed these up a little bit. You can see the skins are broken. Just gonna set this aside because they got to sit for a good half hour or more so that they can absorb that flavor, and the blueberry can mix into that. So let's go on to our scones. Scones are simple, as I just said. First thing up, bowl, because we're going to take all of our dry ingredients. I have flour, I have sugar and baking powder, and I have some orange zest, and I have some. Uh, I'm going to make a cranberry orange scone. Okay, uh, on the recipe that I put up there, there's lots of different options for you. So you want to sift all the dry ingredients together. So we put the flour in, put the baking powder and the sugar together. I left out the salt because the baking powder has more than enough salt for all of us. Okay, baking powder is a double sodium product. So let's just sift this all together so it's nice and fine. And if your baking powder is a little lumpy, just press it through. And it's all right. There we go. Okay, that job is done. You're going to use a fork. That was all on top, so I'm just going to give it a quick stir. Then going to make a well in the center. This normal uh, wet, dry baking, uh, the way you do it, as far as, while you're dry, then add your liquid. Now I do have orange zest here, which I do need to mix in. You want to do this before you add the liquid, and I have some craisins I'm going to mix in, about, quarter cup. And you can use fresh too. You can use those fresh blueberries, but you definitely want to coat them with the flour. Okay, so that way they don't all just like fall to the bottom, basically. So get them all nice and coated. Now we can make my well, follow the proper order, and take, this is the evaporated milk. Just pour that all right into the center. And just start mixing. And just work it around. And every time you go around, bring a little more flour into the middle. And it'll take about 60 seconds to make your batter. This could be what they call a shaggy dough. So it's going to look a little rough. It's not going to be smooth like a bread dough. There we go. And almost there. And if it feels like it's too dry, you can always add another, teaspoon or so of evaporated milk. Like this is not picking up all of the flour today, this time. Could be. Maybe I measured wrong. I don't know. Can happen. So if you need a little more wet, so that's good. I like it when things don't work out right. Just go back, get your can of milk, and just put a little drop on there. There we go. See that? Picked everything up. You see what I mean by shaggy? It looks like it needs a haircut. Okay. Now, what do? You got your oven preheated to 400 degrees. Oh, look at that. Our fat, I didn't put our fat in. No wonder that thing was invisible over there. I had it all ready to go. That's all right. We'll get it in. This will be just fine. This is a pretty forgiving recipe. Okay. And I did that because the evaporate, you still need the fat to make this, the biscuit, so to speak. And the evaporated milk does not have all that fat. So I just made it up with some, avocado oil, or you can use canola, or you can use sunflower, any neutral oil that you have. Okay, there we go. Much better. There's two mistakes in one. Not mistakes, but things that don't necessarily always work. Now they're very simple to pan up. All you do is take a tablespoon. You can make them reasonably large. Some places like to, uh, put them into, kind of pat it out and then cut into triangles. I've seen those. Um, or you can just do a drop biscuit. Okay. You get about 6 out of here. There we go. You just let them free form. Doesn't matter. Kind of oval is what we're looking for. There we go. And we'll put that a little bit on there. And a couple of small ones. See, because this is all just going to melt together, this stuff, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, there we go. Boom, boom, done. I'll typically take your oil and mix it in with your milk first, okay? 400-degree oven. 16 minutes. And do set that timer. Now, I did that on a Silpat because I'm doing on paper or right on the pan. You don't need to grease anything because there's enough fat in there, but they seem to burn on the bottom. So I went to a Silpat and shortened the time a little bit. So they work real well. We'll see. I have some from yesterday already made. Okay, that's number one. Let's go on to number two while those bake. The quiche. Now I'm doing a mushroom tomato quiche with a sweet potato crust. Quiche is typically, it's a pie made with an egg custard, eggs and milk, or eggs and cream, or whatever you wish, and then with cheese and some sort of other filling. It can be plain. The famous quiche Lorraine is bacon and onion. I'm doing a mushroom and tomato, a little bit of onion, always onion in quiche, and that will that's pretty typical. And so, what is this? This is my handy dandy mandolin, sweet potato. I had to scrub it really well because you leave the skin on. Okay, skin stays on with these things. And we want that skin because that's where a lot of the healthy part of it is. Now, this mandolin, a mandolin, is a cutting device that chefs use. You can use a food processor because I need them 1/8 of an inch thick, really pretty thin. And you can do that by hand, but it's a little difficult unless you got really good knife skills. I could do that, but I want to show you this. You can buy online. This is a kitchen safe one. The ones that they a home residence safe. The ones they use in professional kitchens are usually stainless steel. They don't have this nice little tube here that uh, keeps your hands safe, and they just use their hands and push things down, and you just see the cut fingers in the kitchens for these mandolins. And you can slice, you can make juliennes, you can make French fries, you can do waffle cuts, you can do they have all sorts of different blades, like a food processor. So if you use a food processor, use your thin blade, your slicing blade. So then all you have to do with this thing is quick and easy, huh? Look at that, to that whole potato in seconds. Oh, I think I can finish it. There we go. Look at these nice paper thin potatoes. Okay. This is our crust. That's the whole crust. So what we have to do, put them in a bowl, put some oil on them, and get your hands dirty. Okay. Want both sides of these things pretty well oiled. So they cook right. Then we're going to pre-bake it. They're going to go into 350-degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes until they're nice and soft. Then you'll take it out and we'll add the rest of the ingredients. So, uh, okay, we're going to try to time this. Hopefully by the time the scones are done, I'm ready to put this into the oven. Now let's talk about potatoes. I was telling other people today about, how potatoes are different. Sweet potatoes, we're always told to eat sweet potatoes, not white. We don't want white carbs, right? There's just way too much sugar in them, way too much starch, and they have a high glycemic index, and so they raise your insulin real fast, and just all sorts of things. White stuff typically isn't good for us. So everyone says eat sweet potatoes. Well, I was reading, I found out now Yukon Golds, there's two types of potatoes. There's starchy potatoes and there's waxy potatoes. Waxy potatoes hold their shape when you cook them, like a Yukon Gold or a Redskin. If you ever cook them for potato salad, they really stay in shape, where the like an Idaho or russet potato, if you cook it and make potato salad, it crumbles and you get little bits of mashed potato in your potato salad. So Yukon Golds, though, because of their color, have 5 times the antioxidants of regular potatoes. Sweet potatoes are in between, but the best one, believe it or not, which is hard to find, is the purple potato. Oops. The purple, oh my goodness. So the purple potato, the purple Peruvian potato, has, because of the color, the color comes from anthocyanin. Okay, I'm putting a little oil on my bowl here. Anthocyanin is the color that cyan that makes things blue. So the purple potatoes, they have 20 times the antioxidants of regular potatoes. That's pretty impressive. So the only problem is trying to find them. Okay. So if you can use them. Sometimes specialty stores, I couldn't find any, so I went with my sweet potato. Now you want to arrange these in a circle, where I cut myself around the bottom, nice circular pattern, and you want it tight. Okay. So I'm watching this because they're going to curl a little bit when they bake, and you really don't want them to, you get separation. If we have too much separation, we're going to have leaks. So when we put our batter in here, it's going to go through. It's like having the pastry, pie dough, pop a hole, and then all the stuff goes underneath. So there will be a little leakage, I pretty much guarantee, but I think I've figured out a way to solve that problem. So we're going around, keep it nice and tight. Lots of overlap here, okay? Lots of overlap. And just keep going until you're covered the whole thing. And I press down a little bit as I do this to make sure, that they're sticky with the oil, okay? And then you can do a layer up the side if you wish. This is a shallow pie dish, not real tall. So, you can stick some, or you can cut them in half, or kind of put them around a little bit to try and help make another barrier. All right, almost there. Sometimes I've cut them in half to make them fit better. That was a little thick. So if you don't like it, just keep on moving on. When they're nice and thin like this, they bend real well. But they're going to curl. They're going to curl up in the oven. All right. I'm just kind of picking and choosing here. It's like putting a puzzle, looking for the pieces that fit in the jigsaw puzzle. Okay. Or like, if you've ever seen, boy, that was one of the craziest things. If you ever go to Kentucky, to Louisville, and you go on a bourbon tour, you guys know that I have this thing for bourbon. Don't drink as much of it anymore since my dissection and the new meds they have me on. But I went to the cooperage. Coopers are people that make barrels. Those guys are amazing. And they just start, how like a wine barrel, or, the oak barrels they use for bourbon, they just have the rings, and they set the rings up, and they just have a big pile of the wood staves. There's no order. And they just start putting them in and putting them around. And then they start grabbing this one and that one. And before you know it, they have an air tight, liquid tight barrel that nothing will seep through every single time. And these guys do it in about 10 minutes. They put these things together. It's amazing. From there, they go to the ovens where they're charred because bourbon has to be aged in a charred white oak barrel, a first timer, okay, a new oak barrel that has been charred, and that's what gives it that beautiful color and the special flavor. So you can see this. See how it's nice and pretty. We're going to leave that. I have 7 minutes yet, so I'll just put this to the side. Now this would normally go at 350. I can push it a little bit and put it into 400. Let's give it a couple of minutes. Yeah, I think we're all right. Okay. Because I am flying through this here right now. I get some of that oil off my hands.
Let's take a moment here to say hi to some of the
Yeah.
people in chat. Hey Brenny, hey Christina, hey Melissa, hey Tom. Thanks, guys.
Who's here?
That
Missed that.
was I switched off. That was Brenny, Christina, Melissa, and Tom and Katie. Hi, Katie.
Oh, great. Hey, everybody. So glad you could join me. I love the support from the support and the support groups. We all do it for each other. So, all right. Keisha's on hold right now. Got the rest of the stuff ready to go. And so let's move on. Oh, give it a minute. But the parfait, these are going to sit for a while anyways. So the parfait is made up of these lovely blueberries, yogurt, got, Greek yogurt, low fat, that I've put in a some lemon zest. Now, you know how we zest a lemon. We get a whole lemon, and we have one of these lovely tools, okay? And you can use this one or one of the kind of professional microplanes, as they call them, and just rub lightly. Don't put none of the pith, just the yellow or just the orange when you do the orange peel. So I stirred in some of that lemon to give this a lemony flavor. And I don't need much more because we got that limoncello as well, okay? So let's build a couple parfaits. Pretty glasses for New Year's Day brunch, right? We got to make everything look nice here. So we have our blueberries, and we have our yogurt. And see, here's a little of that lemon zest. Put a little more in. What the heck? It's good stuff. I like things lemony. And then remember those amaretti cookies from last week that I used for I put it in the sweet potatoes and the phyllo dough. Okay, these are gluten free. Okay, they are. So this whole dish here is gluten free because they are made. This is a real interesting thing. So they're almond flavored, right? Amaretti, like amaretto, is almond flavored, and these have basically three. These are the hard ones, okay, the crispy ones. They have three basic ingredients: sugar, egg whites, they make a meringue, and then apricot pits. They grind up apricot pits, and that's where this almond flavor comes from, is the apricot pits. Leave it to the Italians, all right, to do this because, this is an Italian specialty. So they're the ones that really figured this out. And so I just think it's pretty cool. And so this is a whole gluten-free dish. So put a nice spoonful of blueberries in there. Okay. Put some yogurt on top. Make sure cover all the blueberries. You got to have that nice parfait look. Okay. It's about a half cup of yogurt per person in this. Then we take our cookies and you crumble some cookies over that. And you can take another one here and just kind of break it. Some cookie crumble in there. And now we start all over again. Parfait, right? Some more blueberries. Try not to do too much of the alcohol in there because it could curdle your yogurt a little bit. These Peruvian blueberries are so big. I mean, I've never seen blueberries like this before. Who needs another one here? Okay, put one right there. Okay, blueberries for yogurt. And, okay, then we're going to finish it off. Some crumble. This one got a little bit of limoncello in it. That'll be mine, okay? I'll sacrifice myself and have the one with all the limoncello juice in it. Okay, get that on there, make it look nice. Okay. Now, some more crumble. Got that other one that I broke. A little bit of crumble. I got a blueberry for each one on top. And a cookie. Put a whole cookie in there or two, whichever you like. There are very little calories. Ones I got, these things, there's 9 of these is a portion, and I think there's like nothing. I don't know. It's very like 40 calories or something. It's really very low. So put our cookies. I got some extras here. I'll save those for later. Nice snacks. Okay, so now these, I'm going to put them in the fridge and let them sit till later. And my scones have got to come out. Wipe off that little bit so it's pretty, make it look nice. Real careful because they end up just making it worse sometimes. Okay, there we go. I got to get those babies out because it doesn't take much for them to burn. Move a few things here. Hot pads. Move my table. Here we go. Woo. Smoking. And then we have some scones. Okay. Put these over here to cool. Oh, I can turn that noise off. Get this baby in the oven. I'm going to turn it down and let that go to town.
I wasn't
Okay.
ready for those scones. You got to bring them back.
I'm sorry?
I wasn't ready for those scones. You got to bring them back.
I will.
Okay.
Okay. Be glad to. I have others. Okay. See the. All right. I'm going to put them back here with some others. These are the ones I made yesterday. A little bit lighter. You see that 30 seconds that I screwed around getting the space ready makes a big difference. So you got to get them off the pan. They're a little dark on the bottom, like I said. Let them cool over here. Okay. And this can go over here to sit and cool. Okay. You have a rack, it's even better, but I've got air in between those, so it's not a problem. All right. I lost my other hot pad, but over here. Okay, great. Scones are done and out of the way. This pan we don't necessarily need. Okay, great. So quiche is working. Parfaits are done. Scones are cooling. What's left to do? Oh, dessert. Crepe Suzette. Now, this is another great gluten-free item. Okay. Oh, goodness. Can you hear that?
Not at
I have
all.
to
Not at
I have
all.
to do something though.
Okay. What's
Got it.
happening? You
Hmm.
okay. All right.
There was an alarm going off on my camera. Okay, good. Yep. All right. So these crepes are very cool because they are made. We have eggs. These are the egg substitutes, no yolks, just white. Potato starch, not flour. Potato starch is our thickening and our binding agent. And that's for dessert. And yep, and sugar. So this has sugar in it as well. Potato starch, a couple teaspoons of sugar. This is eggs and some water. The egg, and all you have to do, blend the two together and mix until smooth. Let me take 1 second. I have plenty of time. You get these in the refrigerator. Whoop. Wow, that was almost disaster. Did it again. Okay, there we go. So we take our potato starch into the egg mixture, egg and water, and just mix it up. And you can sing a little song, a little happy birthday, whatever. Like, what do we use happy birthday for in the kitchen? That song, we're supposed to sing that in the kitchen when we wash our hands. You sing happy birthday twice, it's typically about 20 seconds. And that's the amount of time that you should wash your hands. That's what we train our employees with. Sing happy birthday. Or sometimes people do the alphabet song. Okay, so you see now this is like totally smooth. Okay. And also we're going to let this sit for a minute. Okay. Excuse me, Morty. Because we've got to bring out the big guns here. And let's see. I think we're looking pretty good.
Oh, we're gonna want to go a
Josh,
little higher. Yep.
yep, we got to go the rest of the way. Up a little bit.
There you go. Look
Perfect.
at this thing. Pow.
Look at that. Fire. This is a portable butane stove. Let you know, these things get hot, really hot. So very quickly. So I'm going to, about medium heat, I want to preheat the pan. The crepes are really easy to make. In fact, I need to move this off of here. I'm going to put the crepes over there. And now you notice I made the crepe batter like in a measuring cup. You can make it in a bowl, but you really want to have it in something that you can pour. So that one less bowl. You can make it in the bowl, but then you need to transfer it. Or some people will use like a quarter cup measure and scoop it out. But this makes it really nice to control. You can use your, both of your hands, keeps them easy, busy. Now, we need to make sure that our pan is oiled. This is a non-stick. Really, the old Teflon type worked better. This is one of the Annan dyes, but it's just pretty non-stick. I've had no problem with it. But it does need to be oiled a little more. When you use the other non-stick, you got to typically this used to be butter, but I'm using oil. Uh, it They only do it once, and then after that, there's enough fat in the uh, crepe to not have a problem. So, um, okay, let's see if we got everything there. Let me double check. Yep, 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 yep. It's all ready to go. So, yep, that baby's pretty hot already. And that down. Keep an eye on my potatoes. Okay, they're doing. So take a little piece of paper towel, put some oil on it, and just wipe it around. Make sure that the pan is moderately oiled. Okay. Now, usually your first crepe does not come out. Just to let you know, don't be worried if it looks like terrible. And now, when you pour it, you don't want to put it in the middle because you want a thin layer for a crepe. So you want to pour into the side of the pan and then do the twirl swirl until you coat the whole pan. So yeah, this pan is flaming hot. If you need a little bit more, you can always add a little bit more. See how that worked? Okay, leave it there. It's going to take about a minute. This is a little thick. I'm going to add a little bit more water to it. It also tells you that in the recipe that you may need to, depends how thin you want it. What you're making now for blintzes, you're making cheese blintzes, this little bit of thickness is nice because it holds together. It doesn't, they don't blow out in the pan when you make it. The only thing I do notice about these gluten-free ones with the potato starch, rather than the using flour and butter, is that they don't brown quite as well. The flour ones get a nice, beautiful brown. So after about 30 seconds to a minute, see they lift right off, flip it over. Now you're going to give it maybe 30 seconds at the most. Now, the recipe that I put in I'm going to post makes about a dozen, 24. I'm sorry. I made half a recipe. Okay. So that's pretty much done. Just off camera. I just want you to see this so you can look at it. Okay. And just put it over there to cool. You can put it on a piece of paper. You can put them on a plate. Doesn't matter. They don't stick. I make them the day before, definitely a day or two, because I made all of these yesterday. Okay. And there's a dozen here. And just, let them cool, stacked them up, wrapped them up, and put them in the refrigerator. And they're good for several days. Okay. If you get too much, you can always pour it back into with the raw batter. So, this is, pretty simple, pretty easy. And I love the fact that it's gluten-free because I have a lot of friends that keep gluten-free. Okay. And so they're often left out. It's like this meal, they've got 3 out of 4 tonight, which is great. Usually they get 1 out of 4 if they're lucky that they can eat at the table. So, but yet we haven't lost any flavor or quality by doing these gluten-free. Okay. Sometimes the breads and things aren't all that good. Okay, there we go. Beautiful. Oop, uh-oh. Better off with my fingers. These tongs are just getting in the way. A few seconds here till
We've
it's
got a
nice and
question in the chat.
please do.
All right, so our very own Karen Anderson has joined the chat. With all of the articles about the negatives with nonstick pans, is there a brand you prefer? Hi, Karen.
Hey, well, this is not the old Teflon had, what is it, BPAs or whatever, have chemicals in them. They now make them so they don't make them with those chemicals anymore. I have another one in my drawer that looks like it was the Teflon, but it's not. But this one here, this isn't anodized, which is just anodized is not a coating, it's a bonding, where they actually take they bond another layer onto the aluminum pan that's underneath it. So there's no other bad stuff. So the anodized are very nice. I like Anilon. It's typically, my go-to. I've been to their factory and stuff, so I tend to have a preference to them. But that's There's several brands of those out there, and now most of the time, if you, the great number one nonstick pan is cast iron. Once you have a well-seasoned cast iron pan, nothing sticks to it, and you can do everything in it. And contrary to popular urban legend, you are supposed to wash your cast iron pans. Yes, don't shake your head. You wash them, okay, and or at least wipe them. Depending on what you're making, you can wipe them out, you can wash them, and then you just you can re-season them and put them back. Put them in the oven or on the stove. You rub them with a little bit of oil and put them back in and give them 15 minutes, and they're all re-seasoned. It's really simple. And I mean, I've got several, and none of them stick, and I keep them. I don't scrub them, but I do get food residue off of them and make sure, and grease. I don't like putting away greasy pans. So you put that oil on there, the paper towel like I did, let it bake, take it out, and you can wipe off any excess. And if you go to the lodge sites and the other major ones, that is what they will tell you to do. Tell you that yes, you can and should wash your pans. I have a friend that has one that's hasn't been washed for 30 years. I don't think I'll eat out of it. Okay. All right. Did I flip this one already? Yes, I did. Okay. All right, I'll do one more and then we can move on. I really should have oiled this again, but oh well. You notice they're not, that one didn't stick. I did not oil it either, that last one. Okay, this one's gonna be real nice and thin. Now, if you have a little hole in the middle, okay, you can just take a little dribble. Boop, there you go. Cover it up. The excess run around and be done with it. Okay. Oh, perfect on the door there. Okay, 2 or 3 more minutes on the quiche. Okay. So again, you can make these the day before. It really doesn't take that long. As you saw, I'm just knocking them out. If you're really good, you got 2 pans. That's what we used to do. If you're in the restaurants, you take 2 pans and you do 2 or 3 at the same time, and you just knock them out and get them done. You can make. I remember my mother used to have every counter in the kitchen covered with paper, wax paper back then, and she would make them all afternoon, and she would make like 100, 12 dozen of these blinis, and then because she would use them for entertaining, whatever, and everybody loved her blintzes, cheese blintzes. So it was a day's work for her. But in the kitchens, we can't afford that much time, so we multitask and we use multiple. Let's see, this one's browning nice. Okay, come on, there we go. Peel it off, flip it over, a little dry. This one I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds. Okay, done with that. Well, let's see. I put it somewhere over here to cool. Probably, nah. I don't like putting hot pans on the glass top stove. Okay, not a good idea. So I'll just put this to the side. Now, I don't know if I'm going to start this quite yet. See if I can turn it down a little bit. There we go. Oop. Getting low is really difficult on this little baby. All right, let's get the quiche out. We'll finish the quiche first. In fact, I'll just turn that off. Put this back. Move this out of the way so we can go on to back to part 2 of the quiche. Now, do I want to burn a circle into my booze board? No. There we go. Let's see. Got to come over this way a little bit. There we go. Nice. So you can see, so some of these have come down a little bit. That's okay. You can kind of poke them back up. Now, I mentioned earlier that I had a little workaround because my first one that I made did it leaked a lot. and there was a layer of quiche, batter underneath all the potatoes. Um, so I think I have a workaround that I came up with, because usually you set this aside and let it cool, but it has cheese in it. I have here a half cup or so of grated Parmigiano Reggiano. Now, when I used to make them in my restaurant, we did um, Parmigiano, but also Swiss or Emmenthal or Gruyere, which is, will be the typical French cheese to make this with. And there's a lot of cheese, but you don't have to have, that was really rich. And we made it with cream and half. It was very, very rich, very popular, but lots and lots of calories and fat. So if we put the cheese on here while it's hot and let it melt in a little bit, I think that's going to help with the whole problem. If there's, if you happen to have any spots where that batter is going to leak through. Okay, spread that around. Let it kind of make a seal. Okay, then I'm going to warm these up a little bit. This is going to be a mushroom and tomato. So I do have to slice a tomato. I'm actually going to do some cooking work here. Woo, that pan's hot. So this one little quiche serves 6 people. So let's try to get 6 slices out of our tomato, which I can because it doesn't need to be very thick. This way you can actually, you have your slices already counted for when you cut it. Okay, so I saute when you use, especially when you use something wet, a vegetable that gives off a lot of water, you need to pre-cook it. You need to saute it off. Onions always need to be sauteed. Mushrooms give off lots of water. If you put them in there raw into this quiche, it's just going to add too much liquid to it, and it's not going to set properly. Spinach the same way. Now, something like broccoli or something, you can get away with, but it's still good to even just blanch a little bit, because in that baking time, it's not necessarily, so long as you spend 30, 35 minutes in the oven, it's not going to cook. So it's not going to cook tender. So you usually want to pre-cook. So this is the mushrooms and onions. Now, these are really thinly sliced, if you notice, just a regular white champignon mushroom. Now, you can use any mushroom you want, okay? I just can't waste. Okay, spread that around a little bit so everybody goes to the party. Don't want anybody left, at home and somebody else getting all of it. Okay, there we go. That's going to help melt that cheese as well. Now, where we go next? Our custard. This again is the egg substitute, and evaporated milk. Evaporated milk. Now you can get evaporated whole milk, evaporated 2% milk, and evaporated non-fat skim milk. They're all great. There's not a whole lot of difference between the whole evaporated and the 2%. The skim obviously doesn't have any fat in it at all, so there's really zero cholesterol and about half the calories. But the nice thing about it, again, they evaporate it. They remove the water so that it concentrates and it thickens. So a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk, I think, is equal to 24 or 30 ounces of regular milk. So really works nice. And the egg substitute, a 3/4 cup of the egg sub equals 4 eggs, which this is. So now I put in here dill weed and pepper and some parsley. I think I put a little rosemary in this one and some nutmeg. Okay, nutmeg is a pretty basic for quiche. Just pour that in. You've got a little bit of go around on the side there. Don't need quite all of it. You can take a tablespoon or two out of the recipe if you wish. Now, uh, we're going to lay our tomatoes on there. Tighten it up a little bit. There we go. 6 nice tomatoes. And I've always used a little paprika on mine because it gives it nice color when it bakes. So just a real light sprinkling paprika wherever on the custard. And it doesn't matter if it's on the tomatoes too, but it'll give a nice brown color to your quiche. Okay, when it's done baking. I like using paprika. It's a great spice. Uh, I had cooks a long time ago say, "Oh, I was taught all it's for is just to, garnish food after it comes out and just give it color." So no, paprika's got flavor. It's ground, uh, basically red peppers, but Spanish paprika peppers, and they grind them, dry them and grind them, and that's your powder. Then you have the hot and the sweet, the Hungarian. I've got Hungarian hot in there that is hotter than cayenne pepper. The stuff is killer. Okay, back in the oven. If you want, you can put it on a sheet pan so that it, in case it does bubble over. This one won't. There's not that much liquid in it. I have another one I want to put in there for a second, just to warm it up a little bit. And 30 minutes.
All right, let's say hi to Shauna. And Karen asks, "What does well seasoned mean? Cast iron is so heavy for me to pick up. LOL."
Right. Cast iron is tough. It is heavy. And, that's why when you get older, a lot of people do tend to, don't want it because it's takes a lot of effort to cure it. Well seasoned means that it's got basically an impermeable coating on it. Okay. And that comes from oil. But from oiling and cooking with the pan, it absorbs that oil, it bonds to the cast iron, and it makes a smooth non-stick layer on it. So, but it has to be properly seasoned. A lot of people also, they have all sorts of tools. They have chain mail to clean them with. Kosher salt is a great way. Just kosher salt and a little bit of water and a towel will wash it real well. Okay, that's what I mean by cleaning it. I mean, you don't necessarily want to use Dawn in it. Okay, but salt and things of that nature, that will clean it up. Okay, we got to get rolling here. My clock is ticking, and I promised I would have this in time. Okay, last but not least, crepe Suzette. So what is crepe Suzette? Crepe Suzette is the crepes that we made, and they are cooked in a orange sauce that is made with. This is the only one I didn't do a lot of subbing with. You can use oil, but I prefer to go the traditional. This has oil, butter, unsalted butter, and sugar, and orange zest. Put this all in the pan till it gets nice and bubbly. And I'm going to put my zest in the juice, right? Yeah, because that can all go together. This is so when I zested 2 oranges to get a few teaspoons, and then the juice from both oranges, okay, also goes into this. There we go. It's a beautiful orangey. And then we're going to finish it off with some alcohol. This is a flambe dish. Okay. This is already melting down. As soon as the sugar is melted, I'll be good. And I need a little bit more sugar for afterwards. There we go. Okay, getting bubbly and foamy. You see that? How's it working with the camera there, Josh? Good?
I like it.
I don't see any issues. I may move it away a little bit when I decide to light this on fire. Now, typically it's made with an orange liqueur like Grand Marnier or Cointreau. You can use triple sec if you don't want to spend all the dollars. Um, and then also you can use, I'm going to use another one. It's actually an orange flavored tequila. So you want to fold your crepes in half. What did I do with my tongs? Right here. And now typically you really put the crepe in there flat like that, flip it over, which makes it nice and soft. Okay. And then fold it into quarters. Really not that hard. Okay. Let's use one of these fresh ones. If I can get it up. There we go. Get it off that pan. Whoop, whoop. Flip it back over. Already got it in half and a quarter. Okay. See this coming along nice. And just keep doing this. You can do this table side. Typically, in restaurants, it's always been the French restaurants, the great table side dessert. Whoop. Okay, almost there. Yep, we've soaked a lot of that. See, this soaked up all that butter and juice. Come on. Now that's gonna be, if I use my fingers, that butter is a little hot right now. And I don't really like hot fat on my fingers. So, all right, those are doing really well. See how quick that was? Now, this is a agave nectar that is flavored with orange peel. A little in there. Don't need a ton. Okay. And then cognac. Now, I went all the way. You don't have to use really expensive cognac. I like, actually, this is Calvados. Okay. Calvados is cognac, but it's made from apples instead of grapes. Okay. And let's see if I can do this right. Here we go. Quick tilt of the pan over the flame. Should have some more there. No? Do you want to see that again, guys? I like playing with fire.
Yes.
Yes, of course. So a little bit of cognac. Whoop. Whee. There we go. That was a jump back. And you should sprinkle a little sugar on there. Until that is done. There we go. And we have the sauce. Flame off. And you'll see these look really nice.
Let's say hello to Michael Smith, joining us from up in Canada. Hey, Michael.
Hey, chef.
He says, Chef Rob's killing it. He
Thank
also
you.
says, just no soap on the cast iron. I use a curly Kate and then rub with oil. I'm
Right, so
doing
that's
well,
the
Michael.
stainless
Thanks for
steel.
asking. And then
Yep.
he said,
Curly Kate is a stainless steel scrubber.
ah,
So it's like using that chainmail that they sell to people. So,
gotcha.
all right, here we go. Lovely. You
Nope,
put the
I
extra
wasn't ready
sauce
for
on
that.
it.
I was in chat. Bring that over.
I will. Just a second. Let me get rid of this. We're good. I'm going to bring it all back, everything back, in just a second. There we go. And Here's our finished quiche. Look at that. That thing cooked real fast. Magic of TV. So, yeah. And that's pretty much it. So let's cut this baby. You normally want, if you make a quiche, you know, when you pull it out of the oven, you need to let it set. You can't cut it right away. All that, it needs to settle to finish. All the egg and everything needs to, you know, set up. So we used to, in the restaurant, we used to sell, I don't know, 60 quiche a week, 60 whole quiche. It was our number one lunch item. And, you know, we make them a day ahead of time typically. So make some fresh in the morning, but we'd also have some in the fridge and work those. And if you don't mind, I mean, you know, they reheat really well in the microwave. Just put on a plate, pop it in the microwave, and boom, 30 seconds to a minute later, it's all done. Okay. All right. I did have a tool here. Yep. Another plate. You can see how this, I need that knife back. Need to cut around those potatoes all the way down to the bottom. Make sure everything's nice and loose. There we go. Do a couple. Make it a big portion. Okay. See how nicely that holds together? Got that layer of sweet potato underneath it, holding it all together. See how this one worked nicely without there's not any of the quiche batter underneath. It's just all sweet potato and egg. And then you got your mushrooms and onions and tomatoes. And, you know, put some fresh fruit on the plate, a little bit of green salad, or the other things that you're serving, you know, and you have it all ready to go. So let's wrap this baby up here. Let's see what we got. Get rid of the board. Oh, I had one more thing I forgot, but I'm not going to wait for it. It's okay. I had some nice coffees. You know, it's the morning after, so maybe sometimes a little hair of the dog. So a bite of, I was going to do a coffee, a cappuccino with Bailey's, and another one with just bourbon and coffee. So like a Kentucky, you know, coffee instead of Irish coffee, Kentucky coffee with whiskey and coffee and sugar, and then the, you know, cream on top,
You can't
and
just blaze
Bailey's.
past that. How much
I'm sorry.
whiskey? How much whiskey? How much sugar?
Oh, well, that's really personal taste. But if you do a shot, an ounce and a half of whiskey in the cup, you're probably going to use about a teaspoon of sugar.
Rock on.
Yeah, if you go to San Francisco to the bar where they originated Irish coffee, I mean that stuff is sweet. They put a lot. If you ever had it, they put a lot of sugar. I like my little cups, these little daffy bugs. See? But all right, pretend there's coffee in those with a nice cappuccino top, you know, the froth. I had it all ready to go. Okay. And then we need our and we have our little, you know, this is our brunch for two with a lot of scones. And our crepe Suzette, which is going to be tough here. I'm going to move this around, Josh. Yeah, see the quiche is
Bam.
not in there.
That's almost not. Oh yeah, that's not in there.
Here we go. This can actually come back a little bit. It's pretty heavy.
And That's one hell of a brunch.
Yep. Now these nice little scones. Look, see, look like a nice biscuit. These here are cherry almond instead of the cranberry orange. Got a really nice texture, beautiful. If you want them a little sweeter, you could, do a little icing, a little powdered sugar and milk, and then just drizzle some icing, a glaze over the top, make them really nice. But here we go, guys. Okay, stop moving it around. All right, 4 course New Year's brunch. So we have our lovely scones, yogurt parfaits, quiche, mushroom, tomato quiche with sweet potato crust, and crepe Suzette. So, we got the pancakes, we got the eggs, we got the muffin or the toast, and we got the milk, the yogurt. So just a little twist on the typical American breakfast. All right, I hope you all love it. Any more questions or comments before I say goodbye, all?
Well, just when you set everything on fire, Michael said, "Oopa."
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us. Make sure you like the page on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't followed us, please hit the little bell so you get an alarm. Go to aortichope.org. We have directions there and all sorts of things. We take donations, of course, because we're all volunteers at Aortic Hope. Nobody gets paid. So we all do this on our own time. And we need those donations to keep everything running like we do. So I want to thank you. Everybody have a great holiday next week, whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or one of the plethora of holidays that we have this time of year. And have a happy new year as well, and a happy anniversary. And then the next Aortic Kitchen will be right after New Year's. New Year's Day is on the 1st. So on the 2nd will be the next Aortic Kitchen. And I'm still working that up, but I think I'm going to do something since, to help us keep up with those resolutions, okay, that we tend to make. And next Thursday, next Thursday, will be typically the Wednesday night end of the month support group that I moderate. That's Christmas Day, so we're not going to have it on Wednesday night, but I will be there on Thursday with the group at 7 o'clock Eastern time for that one. Okay, the one holiday, we're going to make that change and move it up a day, back a day. Okay, great. Well, this is Chef Rob with Aortic Hope saying thank you for joining us, and a shout out to Mindy. Hopefully you're watching from Detroit. I didn't hear Josh mention your name, but okay, I get it. Out of sight, out of mind. Okay, love you, hon. All right, bye.